You talking to me? Were you talking to me? I don't see anyone else here.
Question you gotta ask yourself is, do I feel lucky? Well, Pony, do ya?
Daddy, just do it.
I am doing it, Lindsay. Look, I don't want to have to put down Clover any more than you do, but the doctor says that we have to do it. Okay? Just trying to have some fun with this.
Can I just go inside?
No, you can't go inside. I need you to make the Terminator sound.
Bum, 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 bum.
Come on, put some oomph in it, Lindsay.
Bum, 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 bum.
Alright, so as I'm sure most of y'all are aware, the ban list was revealed on Friday, and yeah, Miragestallio is banned, so that kind of sucks. It's pretty rough, but decided to go ahead and head over to locals during the weekend just to kind of, give the deck one last go before the ban list goes into effect. So this time I did bring with me a little notebook, so did take a few notes on some of the games, and so I'll try to recount them to the best of my ability. I was thinking about trying to use my camera to maybe snap photos of certain board states, but the thought completely escaped my mind, and then of course it's kind of weird when you're playing the game, and then it'd be real awkward to ask somebody like, hey, mind if I just pull out my phone and snap a photo of this real quick? Unless of course it's something that I can remember happening right at the end of the game, and then try to recreate it and whatnot. So as you can see from the background, I've got the Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs playmat that was recently released. I also snagged the sleeves, so they're pretty nice. I'm using them for my extra deck. I thought about buying a few more, but by the time I got there, the store was no longer allowing transactions. It was pretty much just open until the game ended. So if you watched the previous video, you have an idea of what is in the deck. No changes to the extra deck. As for the main deck, the change that we did make, as I briefly mentioned, we pulled the 2 DD Crows and replaced them with Solemn Strikes. They did come up a few times, so it was pretty nice, especially for those games where DD Crow kind of sat in my hand. So Solemn Strike was pretty good to have. Skullmeister still did a pretty good job with that, and of course Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs. So we'll go ahead and try to recount the games. There were quite a few because they did 2 local tournaments. One was at 3 p.m. and then another one was at 7. So the first game was against the Hero deck. I actually went against 2 of them today. A few things I took notes on. I think I need to work on, I guess, how I'm declaring actions, because there was one instance where I actually had Solemn Strike set, and he played into Absolute Zero, and he was pretty much like, okay, and then summon Absolute Zero, and then effect from the graveyard. So he really didn't give me any type of chance to respond, really. And so I just flipped the Solemn Strike that I had set. And he's like, so are you negating the activation? I was like, well, no, I'm gonna negate the special summon to destroy it. Well, you can't do that. I already announced the effect in the grave. So I was like, alright, I guess I should have announced in response to your summon or in reaction to that. So I don't know, I guess that's on me, but at the same time, it was like, we're playing locals. Like, whatever, man. Aside from that little exchange, he and I had a pretty good game all around. In one game, he was able to get out Plasma, and I had both Miragestallio and Sunlight Wolf out, and so he opted to take the Sunlight Wolf, and so apparently Plasma is like a skill drain. Your effects can't like face-up effects can't trigger, so he takes the Sunlight Wolf, and so on my next turn I thought to myself, like, okay, well, I'll just try to bounce with Miragestallio, and I was actually able to pull it off, and he kind of commended me on that, and then he kind of started saying how, he probably should have absorbed, he probably should have taken the Miragestallio instead of the Sunlight Wolf, and I don't know, I kind of think, like, in general that might have been a tough call to make, because Miragestallio does have the bounce effect, but of course Sunlight Wolf helps with the recursion, because you can get your spells and traps back in there. If a monster, summons to a link arrow, you can pick things up, like you can bring back Gazelle to your hand, or Ash Blossom, whatever. So, I mean, I think it was kind of a tough call for him. I'm not really sure if there is a proper out to that. So after that, the next game was against Dragon Maids, and that was interesting. That one was pretty rough for me. I had some pretty rough hands there. On the first game, I was able to use Ash Blossom a lot. Ash Blossom and Imperm, I was able to negate a lot of his stuff, so he wasn't able to fill his grave. So he wasn't able to do any of the tag outs or anything like that. I think he was running like completely pure Dragon Maids. I want to say the only thing I saw that wasn't the Dragon Maid archetype was in his extra deck, which was only 2 House Dragon Maids and then the Hieratic Spheres. He was running that, and after the game we were kind of having a conversation. I was kind of, suggesting to him, like, well, I wonder if you might be possibly able to run Guard Dragons in here, but I'm really not sure how well that would go, especially now with Ib being banished. But I mean, it might be possible. I don't really know the deck very well. I just know that personally I want to collect the cards. There was one game, because it went into a draw. One game I scooped because what happened was, I don't remember the exact details, but he was able, I think I had such a rough hand, I either had Sunlight Wolf or Balinks out, along with the Miragestallio, and something happens to them. Either they got popped or they got killed in battle. I forgot exactly what happened, but all I had was Miragestallio, but I did have material. So I was thinking to myself, alright, this is fine. I can just, special summon with Miragestallio, and then go from there. I can get out like a Balinks, and then, go into a Sunlight Wolf with Miragestallio, because he had the house, I remember he had House Dragon Maid out. So, could have gone into Miragestallio, Sunlight Wolf, bounce the House Dragon Maid, but then he ashed the Miragestallio, so I wasn't able to get the special summon, so sucks to suck, and I just scooped up and gave him the win there. And then game 3, it pretty much got called to time, and I have no way to burn with this deck. It's pretty frustrating when things get called to time. Even against the hero player, that one went to time, but like the moment the announcement came, we just jumped into battle phase. What did he have out? I think it was the it's the one that gains the attack. It's the Link 3 in the Heroes deck. And I was able to use Heat Leo's effect to drop its attack down to 500, targeting Baylinks, and went into attack. But then he used Honest Neos, so it ended up hurting me. And yeah, so that's how I lost that one. Game 3 was versus Spirals. Now, this is the first time I personally have played Spirals. I don't really know anything about the deck. I just remember as I was starting to get into Yu-Gi-Oh, Spirals it was doing the extra linking with the nightmares, but I never really paid too much attention to it. I don't know, I just didn't learn it. So, that one was pretty intense. I had absolutely no idea what to target in that game. I recall being able to use Salamangreat Roar on the Magician's Soul, and that, I remember the player kind of being like, oh, well, that really sucks, you know, that would have been a great extender. But he still was able to, like, flood his board. So, even if I was able to, you know, like, Ash something, like, it's still going. So, I negated, like, 2 times, and it's just still going. So I really didn't know what to do with that deck. Eventually I did notice that I don't know the name of the card, but when she leaves the field and goes to the graveyard, she brings out the field spell. And when I read the field spell, I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure I don't want this to go off. So in game 2, you know, I was holding on to Ash in my hand like the entire time, and then once that got sent to the grave, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna Ash that so you don't get the field spell. He was still able to get it down anyways, because it just didn't even matter. I think he already had one in the hand too, but he was able to get it out regardless. Oh no, because he called by the grave. That's what it was. I called by the grave the Ash. So yeah, when that happened, I was just like, yeah, alright, GG's. Like, wasn't really able to do anything. Game 4, or the 4th round, during that section of the tournament, played against the Skull Servants deck, and that one was interesting. Definitely notable issues that I had with that. So a lot of the previous games that night, I wasn't able to go into IP Masquerena as much. So I just had like a really big brain fart. So in the first round, I was able to go into IP Masquerena, and then I had some like wolf. Guy goes into his turn, and then he says, alright, well, I'm gonna go into battle phase. And so I was like, okay. And then, you know, just proceeded to take out IP Masquerena and stuff. And then the moment that happened, I was like, I even told him, I was like, oh shit, like I should have gone into Avramax, you know, right as you said that. And he was like, yeah, probably should have. And then a big rough one for this game was that there was one moment where I had Sunlight Wolf out, and I had let's see, I know Jaguar was in the grave. It was a Jaguar play. Gazelle was involved too. Where the hell are my Jaguars? I know they hear. There we go. Here's one. So I had Jaguar in my graveyard. I think I normaled the Gazelle. and my dumbass decided to put it here. And then I'm looking, and I was like, oh shit, I could have gone into like a Jaguar play to, because what I was thinking, what I should have done, I ended up doing it in the next turn, my next turn at least, because I had Miragestallio in the extra deck, but I remember I wasn't able to use the effect, so I should have Jaguared, Miragestallio back to the extra deck, link these either to another Sunlight Wolf or maybe Heat Leo, it really doesn't matter. Actually, I think I ended up going into another Sunlight Wolf. And then from there, you know, normal, or at least normal Gazelle on a different zone, you know, maybe use activation of Spinny, or, you know, I think I had Foxy in the grave too, so I could have brought that out. You know, then go into Miragestallio again, and, you know, combo off from there. But I didn't. And so I made a note of myself, you know, keep in mind to keep that link free for, you know, Jaguar plays. And then in the next game, I have Baylinks out, and then, how did it go? It was bad. I had Baylinks, and then I had Archiver in my hand, and Spinny, so it involved Spinny as well. It was hella rough. Where's that Archiver? Here we go. So I had our Archiver in my hand. I normaled Spinnied, but I did it on a zone beside it, and then I was like, and then effective Archiver, and he's like, no, you know, you didn't do that. So I was like, ah, shit. So, a little bit of, you know, gave myself advice, and then, you know, it was the wrong kind of advice. So, I just need to keep to myself, I just need to keep in mind, you know, the link arrows, where I want things to go to and where not. There were a few times where I had Sunlight Wolf out, and someone summoned, like, right across from him. So, like, alright, cool, I'm bringing back my Ash Blossom, or, you know, whatever else back to my hand. So that happened a few times, so unfortunately I was able to remember that. I don't think there were any games where I forgot to use Baylinks in the grave. So, small steps towards improvement there. I was at least able to remember. So after that, they had the second tournament later that day, and the first game was against the Heroes deck, another one. One big question I had was if, because I had Impermanence in my hand, and it was either in my hand or I had it set, but regardless, Impermanence was something that I could have used. And he started off by normal summoning Ferris, and I didn't Impermanence the Ferris, but I kind of feel like I should have. He did say, he's like, well, if you're not going to negate, I'm going to go ahead and pop off, and I didn't have any other negates to play. I only had the Impermanence. But how that turn ended up is he ended the board with the hero that grants the attack, the Link 3 again. I can't remember the name. If I can remember the name and remember the card art, I'll probably put it on the screen. But it was that one, and then right underneath him was Vision Hero Trinity. So, yeah, I did have Imperm set because I had monsters out. So he decides to attack into, I think I had Sunlight Wolf, and he decides to attack, and that's when I Impermed the Trinity was there, so that it didn't gain the double attack boost. So that was when I Impermed. So with that game, I'm not certain if I should have Impermed Ferris, or if I made the right call in using Impermanence on the on the Vision Hero. I think it ended up not mattering anyways because after that he just used mask change, so whatever. He didn't. I don't think he played Dark Law in that game. He only played the Anki, I believe. So it is what it is. After that, oh right, before I do go on, I did step out for a bit to grab some snacks with some friends. So we went to like a fast food joint and came back. So I did miss we missed the first round, so I did lose that one. And then on that game with the heroes, that ended up in a draw. Then after that, I played against Subterrors. It was the same Subterror guy from the previous video. Did have a better experience playing him this time, so I personally am glad for that. I did lose, however, I was actually able to win a game off of him. And I think I was just able to negate so much stuff. It was really tough. I ended up having to side in Twin Twisters, because the first game we played, he hit me with There Can Be Only One, and I had absolutely no out to it. You know, I was trying to see what I could do, so I tried link summoning. Like, I remember I normal summoned Foxy, then I tried to link summon into Balinks, and he said I couldn't do it, even though, like, technically, you know, I'm removing one to summon another, but he says I can't do that. I'll probably need to just confirm the ruling, because I think that's weird, but that's what he was telling me. So it was real rough. But then the second game, I sided in Twin Twisters, and I was able to draw into it. Because otherwise, you know, he had There Can Be Only One out, and then he had the field spell. So a lot of the beginning was just trying to play defensively. But I was able to get Twin Twisters. I popped There Can Be Only One and Hidden City, and you know, I went off, build the board, and yeah, I think he just had like a really rough hand, so eventually he just scooped. Then game 3 of that, I was able to get a few things off to prevent him from playing a few things. However, he started off by playing Terraforming, and I decided to Ash it, and then he just ended up playing a Hidden City from the hand. So that sucks. But it is what it is. Later on, when I got Miragestallio out, he used Crackdown on it. So that sucked. I think he attacked me with it, but I was able to protect Sunlight Wolf with the Balinks, even though I took the damage, but, you know, whatever. Oh, wait, no. Actually, I think this might have been the second game when he scooped, but regardless, the situation was he had the Crackdown, and I was able to use... I was able to link into Phoenix. So I got Nightmare Phoenix off, I popped the Crackdown to bring back Miragestallio, and then that was when he scooped. Yeah, I think game 3, I think I just had a really rough hand, and he just locked me down, so I just scooped it. So that one was a loss. I did ask him for some feedback. He pretty much told me, you know, don't Ash the Terraforming. You know, even if you get the field spell, you want to prevent it from, you know, going on board. So he said I should have just Ashed Hidden City to prevent that effect rather than Ash the Terraforming. And then with the instance with the Crackdown, he was like, you know, you had Foxy and Grave. You really could have just used that rather than go into Phoenix. Which makes sense. Phoenix uses 2 materials, Foxy is just the 1. So, yeah, it makes sense. But I didn't think of it at the time. But otherwise, you know, he pretty much just said, you know, aside from that, he did tell me that he thinks I'm starting to get a better idea of how to play through my hands. So he commended me on that, so that's cool, you know. So I had a much more positive experience playing against him that time than previously. After that, went against the zombie deck. That one was rough. I did lose. I was able to... It was a lot of negates. I drew really not so great hands. Like, it was sad. Like, I was ending boards on, like, Balinks and an Imperm, or, like, just Sunlight Wolf and nothing else. Like, I think I ended up just setting some back row just to, you know, try to fake it. So just really had a rough time with hands. But I remember, like, the first game, I was able to negate quite a bit. You know, he would get Unizombie out, I would Imperm it, he would then send Glow Up, you know, he was able to send up a Glow Up Bloom into his grave, Skullmeistered it, so I was able to get a few negates off to kind of prevent it, but, you know, eventually he was able to get Ballardrock out, and once Ballardrock's out, you know, GG, it's pretty tough. It sucks. And then he had a Vendread Savior, and that was actually how he was able to get Ballardrock out, because he attacked into Heat Leo, and then so he discarded Ballardrock to lower the points, and then, you know, with Ballardrock being in the grave, then, you know, you can bring it back out. So it is what it is. So yeah, I think that was pretty much it. The zombie deck was kind of neat. But yeah, that was my recount of the games. A lot of losses, and a lot of really dumb mistakes that I made. There were also plenty of times where I summoned out Gazelle and completely forgot to use its effect, which I was really kicking myself, because I could have, you know, put in a Rage or a Roar, and I'm just, you know, just sitting there with a, you know, naked back row. It was really rough. And then there were a few instances, you know, trying to keep in mind about the arrows, because, you know, I would like summon onto, you know, right underneath Sunlight Wolf, and then completely forget to add a fire attribute monster back to my hand. So, just a lot of trying to keep all of that in mind. So, yeah. So I don't know if I'm gonna continue playing this deck once the ban list goes into effect, because even though I'm reading on Discord that the deck is still playable, it's just not as consistent anymore, is really rough, because even with the 3 Lady Debugs, this deck doesn't really need it. Not anymore. Before Signet Mining, like, I don't know, it kind of feels like Lady Debug is almost like a waste of a normal summon. It almost feels like that. Again, I was siding out Lady Debug at times, and I really didn't miss it. So, yeah, I don't think that's really going to help. What I am reading, though, as a replacement, is Dante. I only have the common one right now, and I mean, I can see why. You know, it's still a rank 3, discard a material, and you mill 3 cards into the graveyard, but I kind of feel like you're just praying that you're going to be able to load it with some Salamangreats. So I can kind of see, I really think, at least of some of the rank 3s that I've looked up, I really think this is probably the best option. The other 2 that I found that, like, at first kind of seemed like it's a good idea, but the more I think about it, I think it's really a terrible idea. One is, I think it's a Fire Fist monster. I think Lion Emperor. If I remember correctly, detach material, and you can bring a fire effect monster back to your hand. However, for the remainder of the turn, you can't normal or special summon it, which I don't oh, you can't normal or special summon a monster of the same name as that. I don't think it's completely terrible, because you could probably use it to get Gazelle if you happen to have it on there. But most of the time for your rank 3 plays, you're probably going to have Gazelle out anyways. So I really don't think it's going to be that great. And if the effect is as I remember, you know, say you have, you know, you're running Sea Archiver, you know, that's not really going to help. But not like, you know, you really need to bring Sea Archiver back. But you can probably use it to bring back Ash, if that's the case. So whatever. This is... I'm now second guessing myself. I don't know if I have the effect memorized. If I can, I'll put like a picture of the card on the video. And then another one was Cyber's Reminder. That one, I don't really think that one will be that great. I think you discard an Xyz material, and then you can bring back a Signet spell or trap back to your hand. So you're like gonna add back mining. You really don't. I think once you use one mining, that's kind of it. I think that one is all you need, assuming of course it doesn't get ashed. Otherwise, I think the one mining is really all you need to play. After that, you know, you can just discard it for cost. It's probably Signet mining. So yeah, I'm really not certain if I'm gonna still be playing Salamangreat. We'll see. I guess it really depends. It's not a deck that I would say I particularly have fun playing. I have fun when I'm learning and, you know, I can do something and feel good about myself, but I don't feel like it's the deck itself that's providing me that fun. So, you know, I kind of want to see if I can find something that I personally will enjoy. A few things that I am looking at in taking into consideration is zombies. I've kind of, you know, liked the idea of playing zombies for a good while now. I'm just not certain how I'm going to go about it. I think I have one build in mind that has a few Shiranui cards, but I'm kind of thinking about running dangers in them. Someone also suggested possibly Orcust zombies, but he's not sure how that may play now with Harp Horror being banned. And another thing that I'm kind of looking into, and a lot of people are, it seems, is dinos. I did pick up a few dino cards from some trades earlier. I might possibly go with Shaddoll Dino. I'm not really sure. That's kind of what I'm looking at if I were to go the route of Dino. But we'll see. I also made a Fluffle deck for fun. Maybe maybe someone might be able to break Fluffles, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I can't really think of anything else to add for this video. That's really just my musings. So if you actually stuck around this long, I do sincerely thank you for doing so. Of course, if you have any feedback on anything that I said, you know, internal questions that I had to myself, or things like that, please, by all means, feel free to post them into the comments. You know, like and subscribe is always appreciated. So yeah, thanks for watching. Take care.